Ananse and the price of all stories. Before we begin, settle yourself. Let your body grow heavy and still. Let the sounds of this night wrap around you like a cloth woven long ago by hands that knew how. In many parts of West Africa, when the evening meal was done and the fire burned low, the elders would gather the children close. And someone, always someone, would say, "We do not tell stories in the daytime, because stories are creatures of the night. They belong to the hours when the world grows quiet and the mind softens, and the distance between here and long ago becomes very, very thin." So, it is night now. The fire is low, and I have a story for you. In the time before time had a name, when the world was still learning to be itself, there were no stories. Not one. No tales of brave hunters in the tall grass. No songs of rivers finding their way to the sea. No whispered legends of the ancestors who first looked up at the stars and wondered what they were. All of the stories, every story that had ever happened or ever would happen, belonged to one being alone, Nyame, the sky god. He kept them locked inside a great wooden chest high above the clouds where no one could reach them and no one could hear them, and the world below went on in beautiful, quiet ignorance. Ananse was not large. He was not fast. He could not run like the leopard or fly like the eagle or roar like the lion. He had only 8 thin legs and a mind that never stopped spinning. One morning, and this is the morning everything changed, Ananse looked up at the sky and made a decision. He would climb to Nyame. He would ask for the stories. He would bring them back to earth where they belonged. The other animals laughed. The elephant laughed so hard the ground shook. The python laughed so long he coiled around himself twice. Even the little lizard, who was nobody important, laughed. "Ananse," they said, "you are a spider. The sky god's price for those stories has broken stronger creatures than you. Kings have tried. Warriors have tried. What could a spider possibly offer that Nyame has not already refused?" Ananse said nothing. He simply began to spin. When Ananse reached the top of the sky, Nyame was waiting. The sky god sat on a throne of woven cloud, and his eyes were the color of lightning before it strikes. He looked down at the small brown spider at his feet, and he smiled, not kindly. "So," said Nyame, "another one comes seeking my stories." "Yes," said Ananse, "I have come to buy them." "The price," said the sky god, "is this. You must bring me 3 things. 3 things that no one has ever been able to bring me." "Name them," said Ananse. Nyame held up one finger. "The hornets of the sky, Mboro. Bring them to me alive, everyone, in a gourd without letting a single one escape." Nyame held up a second finger. "Onini the python. He who is longer than the palm tree is tall. Bring him to me, living and unharmed." And a third finger. "Osebo the leopard. He who the other animals fear even in their sleep. Bring him to me." Ananse climbed back down to earth and walked into the forest until he found the great tree where Mboro the hornets built their nest. A papery city the color of old bone, humming with 10,000 wings. He sat for a long time and thought. Then he found a gourd, large and hollow. He filled it with water. He walked to the hornet's tree during a light rain, and he called up into the nest. Poor Mboro, poor Mboro, the hornets buzzed. Why do you call us poor, Spider? Because the rain is coming, said Ananse sadly. A great rain, much bigger than this. It will soak your nest. It will drown your young. It is a terrible shame. The hornets buzzed louder, anxious now. What should we do? They cried. Ananse held up his gourd. I was carrying this when I heard your trouble. It is dry inside, large enough for all of you. I would be honored to carry you safely through the rain. And the hornets, because they were not wise in the way Ananse was wise, flew one by one into the gourd. When the last one entered, Ananse sealed it with a leaf. He had his first gift for the sky god. The great python Onini lived near the Black River at the edge of the forest. His body was as thick as a man's chest, and his scales caught the moonlight like hammered copper. Even the leopard walked wide of the river at night. Ananse came there alone in the morning, carrying a long straight branch cut from a palm tree. He sat on the bank and began to talk to himself, loudly. No, she is wrong. My wife is wrong. He cannot be as long as this branch. The branch is longer. Surely the branch is longer. The python heard. Of course the python heard. Vanity is the door through which wisdom often exits. Onini raised his great head from the water, eyes like amber. What is this you argue about, Spider? Ah, forgive me, said Ananse, pretending embarrassment. My wife and I disagree about your length. She says you are longer than this palm branch. I say the branch is longer. It is a foolish argument. Pay me no mind. The python slid out of the water onto the bank, full length. Lay your branch beside me, said Onini. We will see who is right. And as the python stretched himself straight and still to be measured, Ananse spun silk, fast and quiet, wrapping the python from tail to head before Onini understood what was happening. I believe, said Ananse softly, that you are exactly as long as you need to be. For the leopard, Ananse dug a pit, deep and wide in the soft earth near the place where Osebo walked at night. And in the morning, when the leopard had fallen in, as leopards, for all their grace, sometimes do, Ananse stood at the edge and looked down. Osebo raged, clawing at the walls of the pit, snarling, his spots rippling with fury. Spider, he growled. Get me out of here and I will not eat you. I am sorry about the pit, said Ananse. It was an accident, but you know I am only a spider. I am not strong enough to pull you out. I will need to bend 2 young trees together and lower them down, and you can hold on while I release them and they spring up. The leopard, because he wanted out more than he wanted to be suspicious, agreed. Ananse bent 2 young trees down into the pit, and Osebo gripped them with all 4 paws. When Ananse let go, the trees sprang upward and carried the leopard all the way to the top, tangled and bound. When Ananse returned to the sky carrying his 3 gifts, the gourd of hornets, the wrapped python, and the bound leopard, Nyame fell silent. For a long time, the sky god looked at the spider. He looked at what the spider had brought. He looked at the kings and warriors who had tried before and failed, and whose names were already fading from memory. And then Nyame did something no one had ever seen him do. He laughed. Not cruelly, not with surprise, with recognition. The way you laugh when something confirms what you always, somewhere, knew to be true. He opened the great wooden chest, and the stories came out, not like birds released from a cage. They came out like light coming back after a long rain, like something that had always been there finally finding its way home. From this day, said Nyame, they are called Ananse's stories. They belong to him, and through him, to everyone. The fire is very low now. The stars have moved across the sky. The stories are out of the chest and loose in the world, in the mouths of grandmothers, in the ears of children, in the long memory of the night. Let this one settle inside you. There is no task too small for great patience. There is no door that cleverness cannot find its way through. In every story you have ever loved, someone, somewhere, paid a price to bring it to you. Sleep well. The night will keep watch.